what this is it is the Write Your Purpose weekly writing circle. And it's nonfiction and memoir. So if you're writing nonfiction or memoir, this is your jam. If you're writing fiction, you could still show up because the structure is the same regardless of what you're writing about, but there's office hours included as well, where you have an opportunity to ask specific questions and get answers. And our value as a company is around nonfiction and memoir. You know, when it comes to fiction books, I have thoughts, but they're very different industries. Even though it's the same industry, they're very, very different things. And what applies to one does not apply to the other. So if you are, again, which I think is the majority of the people here, which is fantastic. So how it works. So in this program, the goal is to have weekly writing sessions. And at the start of and these can be enrolled in at any point in time. So there's not like it's not like a 6-month commitment. You can enroll for 30 days and then end it. You can be in it for as long as you want. It is incredibly flexible because this process has to be flexible, which is why I don't like that whole scarcity mentality that a lot of things come at. It has to be designed in a flexible way. So we provide weekly writing prompts because sometimes we just need that thing to help us get that 222 words a day down on paper. We have book outlines, so both for a nonfiction outline and a memoir outline. And we have a progress tracker spreadsheet that we've actually just revamped, that what it will help you do, and it started off as much more simple version of this that I have used, I think, with all of my books, because I like data. And so I like to know when I'm being productive or where I'm being productive. So this progress tracker, what it does is you're able to say, all right, on Tuesday, March 12th, I was able to write 1,200 words, and I did it while I was sitting on my deck. And I did it in the evening. Or on Wednesday, March 13th, I was sitting at an airport and I got 3,000 words. And you're like, wow, that seems odd that, and going back to the bouncy house example, right? Like, wow, that seems odd. Like in a really chaotic environment, I'm able to actually get a lot more done. What it will help us do is see patterns and trends, and we can adjust our writing plan around those patterns and trends. So that's how I knew for a long time that I worked best in the morning. That is not the case anymore, but that for my last few books, the Publish Your Purpose book that you have, that one I wrote mostly while flying. That was more of like let me just write it when I have available time. But my memoir, I was very consistent in writing, Monday through Thursday from like 8 to 9 in the morning. And then on Fridays, I would just kind of give myself more freedom to kind of write it where it kind of felt where I could. But what I learned is that I need to be out of the house. I can't work at my desk. And ideally, it needs to be in the morning. And with that information, you can be way more efficient, way more productive, a lot faster. So we've revamped this to have like pie charts in it. So the more data you put in, the pie charts start to change and kind of really see where am I being most efficient and most productive. So just some food for thought on the progress tracker. And what we also know is that accountability, it just kind of comes in different forms. So everyone is a little bit different. And again, this is kind of like the whole piece of it. So from an accountability standpoint, we have the Promote Your Purpose PDF, which is a bunch of marketing tips and how to promote your book. And this might seem incredibly premature, but again, accountability comes in different forms. So for some people, actually making a public declaration that you are working on a book and that book is coming in said period of time is the thing that equally scares the hell out of us, but equally motivates us. So it includes that, as well as a video that we have that we use with our authors. So in that 6-month program I mentioned, there's a content library that has hundreds of videos in it that covers a lot of different things related to publishing. So there's a couple of pieces of that we're bringing into this program, and it's about pre-orders. So that is another thing that will motivate the hell out of you is if you are saying, hey, I have this book coming. It is, X period, however many periods later, it's coming next year, whatever happens to be. You can say, support me now, buy my book now. And what that will do is it helps you with the investment of what it might take to get the right people to help you get it done. And there's a lot of different strategies around this. We have more ways to do this than you could possibly imagine. So it's just a really kind of comprehensive way to do this. For others of you, you might be like, what on earth? I would never do this. That's okay. It's an available resource. You don't have to do it. There's no right or wrong here. I just cannot emphasize that enough. about the entire process. There's no right or wrong. You have to do what's right and comfortable for you. I'm realizing I wish I had made the slides clickable and not have everything blowing up at you at once. But here we are, can't fix it. So there's a writing program called Scrivener. Whether you want to join our program or not, Scrivener is amazing. Cannot highlight it enough. And so it basically makes the writing process non-linear. A lot of us think of writing like, here's the intro, chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, conclusion. And we want to kind of like write it that way. And when you open up a Word document, you also kind of want to write it that way, because that's what Word does, is it starts at the beginning and goes to the end. It doesn't work for a lot of us. So Scrivener provides a way to be able to drop in content where you're just feeling inspired to write. And there's a whole information about Scrivener in the writing in the book as well. So you're welcome to go there as well. But we also have kind of tutorials. We have starter files, ways to just kind of make this a little bit easier for you to wrap your head around, so you're not starting from a blank page. And then you already have a copy of Publish Your Purpose. So I also, in this program, we're also providing copies of my last nonfiction book and my memoir. Oh, Carol's already using, oh, love it. Yes, it's so good. I've been obsessed with it for like a decade. And it's like, with our code, it's like $40. Like, it's such a good, or I think it's 48 now. They just raised their price a little bit. It is worth every penny, if nothing else. It is worth every penny. But I also am providing the ebook copies of both of my last 2 books to use as examples of how to think about how you can write your book. So if you're looking at a memoir, what could this look like? And if you're looking at a nonfiction book, what could this look like? And neither of them are written in an unconventional way necessarily, but they are deviations from kind of like how you would expect something to be written. So it's just as an example. And, with our content, it's like, take it and run with it. Like, if you can replicate it, go for it. There's no, like, the goal is to make this easier for you, not to make it more complicated. And then, so the weekly agenda will be that it's welcome and introductions for the first couple of minutes. Want to make sure that we're, doing some goal setting and setting intentions, because we need to be mindful of how we're using this time. It's not just show up on a Zoom and hope for the best. There's intentionality behind it, because if we want to make progress, we need to have intention behind it. And then having our distraction-free writing zone. So for some people, having their camera still on and being able to actually have that accountability of like, oh, now not that we don't, whether you're multitasking or not, no one knows. But it seems it seems less likely that you might be off doing something completely different or on your phone if other people are watching you, or at least Nikki is looming watching you. And then reflections, like, what did you get done? Like, what was your goal? How many words did you want to write in this time? And how many did you write? If that was what your goal was. Maybe your goal is to do a little bit of research today. What was your goal? Maybe you're using the writing prompt that's provided and you want to share what that is. Lots of ways to kind of do this. So timing for this, and I don't know if I have everyone's time zone covered, because I know that there's a lot of time zones that we're in here is like, wow, is not expecting a number of things in here. So we can do a conversion of time for you, but it ends up being 11 Eastern, 4 Greenwich Mountain Time, and then all the others in the middle, and then wherever you may be, because I know that there's a number of you that it would be much later than 4 o'clock, which actually might be good, because maybe in the evening time, that's when you'd be looking for the support the most. Everyone's a little bit different, right? Like, that is always kind of the thing. Everyone's just a little bit different. It's a matter of finding what works for you. So having something like this, maybe it's not during a peak writing time, but maybe it becomes your research time. Maybe it becomes your planning time, right? Like, it's a weekly writer circle, but it doesn't mean that that time needs to be spent actually doing the writing. Of course, that is part of the intention here, but there's a lot of other things that kind of dovetail into the writing. And then there's office hours. And so those are just on the 3rd Thursday of the month, 1 hour after. So it'll be the writing time, and then it'll go right into the office hours. And the office hours will operate similar to how the Q&A is going to go in just a second, where, it's Nikki who's answering all of the questions that you have, anything related to your book, right? Like, there's a lot of programs that are like, you can only ask us questions about the writing or about the curriculum, about the whatever. It's like, if there's something that we can do that's going to help you get unstuck and take action, get you in the right direction, it's on the table. And if we don't, if there's not an immediate answer that we know, we'll find the answer and come back to you. And then this is where, the whole like join now thing, this is the only thing we're adding into the mix. So it's not a high, there's no hype here. But for the first 50 people who are joining us, we're doing a special Q&A session with yours truly. So, and we'll figure out the day and time that works for the majority of people. We'll cross that bridge in a little bit. That is the only time sensitive thing. But beyond that, I don't like hypey type of marketing. And then you can use QR code. Nikki dropped the link in the chat. So it is $97 US per month. And again, that's the 4 sessions per month and then the office hours. And so the goal here is to really just help you take action and get this done. And this is a significantly less investment compared to our 6-month writing program that I've been mentioning a couple of times, which is just under $6,000 for 6 months. So it ends up being a little over $1,000 a month after. So this makes it way more affordable. And again, it's just one of those things that it's been on our radar for a long time, and we just haven't had the resources to dedicate to actually getting this done. So we're super excited. This is kind of like I hate the word beta. I don't know another word would be for it, like the early people knowing this. And so we'll send an email to our list later today, but you are all actually the first to know about this, not saying this in a hypey way. Okay. And then Nikki provided this earlier. So if you do want more extended support, we do have a cohort starting at the end of April. There's information on our website. We have a discount for it. There's no pressure on any of these things at all.
And we'll be sending follow-up messaging after this with all of the links, all of the resources, and the recording of the session as well. So don't worry about jotting it down.
Yeah, we're not, again, it's not like, gotta do it now, it expires in 24 minutes. Like, that's not how we are as a company. We should really try to be opposite of how a lot of other companies in this space operate. All right, I'm gonna scroll up and try to see, unless Nikki, there's a specific question that you saw to start with.